Hi everyone, I'm Colin Mahoney, Product Marketing Manager for Installed Products here at Harman Professional, and I'd like to welcome you to today's momentous product launch event. We're thrilled to unveil our latest addition to the world-class Control Contractor loudspeaker family, the first products in our all-new Control 400 ceiling speaker series.
As a successor to the iconic JBL Control 20 series of ceiling loudspeakers, the JBL Control 400 enhanced coverage loudspeakers have been engineered to retain the legendary reliability and versatility of speakers like the Control 26, with enhanced coverage, superior sonic performance, improved installation features, and a modern aesthetic. Let's take a closer look at some of the improvements we've made with these speakers. The heart of the Control 400 Enhanced Coverage series is the Control 426 CT. The Control 426 CT is a redesigned and much improved successor to the ever-popular Control 26 CT. This is a two-way coaxial ceiling loudspeaker with a 6.5-inch woofer featuring JBL exclusive coplanar RBI technology to deliver 110 degrees of consistent, full, rich sound to the listening area. The direct input's high 12-ohm impedance allows connecting up to 3 speakers in parallel on a 4-ohm rated amplifier channel. For distributed systems, the transformer is designed for exceptionally low saturation, even at high drive levels, providing top quality, low distortion distributed sound character. The optimized ported enclosure delivers warm, smooth bass response. The Control 426 LP is the low-profile version of the Control 426 CT and is ideal for areas requiring a similarly exceptional sound character as the 426 CT, but with limited space above the ceiling. With an enclosure depth of less than 100 millimeters, the 426 LP is a great option for a range of spaces. The Control 424 CT is a two-way coaxial ceiling loudspeaker with a 4-inch driver featuring JBL exclusive coplanar RBI technology to deliver 130 degrees of consistent, full, rich sound to the listening area. The direct input's high 16-ohm impedance allows connecting up to 4 speakers in parallel on a 4-ohm rated amplifier channel. For distributed systems, the transformer is designed for exceptionally low saturation, even at high drive levels, providing top quality, low distortion distributed sound character. The optimized ported enclosure delivers warm, smooth bass response. For spaces with lower ceiling depth, the Control 424 LP delivers the same exceptional sound quality as the 424 CT, but with an enclosure that is less than 100 millimeters deep. Though shallow, the wide diameter back can of the Control 424 LP contains the exact same internal air volume as the full-size Control 424 CT, so you won't need to compromise sound quality to achieve a lower profile. When the application requires extended low-end performance, the Control 419 CST is the perfect solution to augment any design utilizing Control 400 series ceiling speakers. This high-power, low-distortion in-ceiling subwoofer has an 8-inch woofer, built-in low-pass filter, dual high-flow ports, and a thick, sturdy enclosure. The Control 419 CST can be connected into a system in a number of configurations, in parallel with full-range speakers to take advantage of the subwoofer's built-in passive low-pass filter, with an external DSP low-passing the subwoofer and driving the subwoofers from a separate amplifier channel, or with an external high-pass filter to the full-range speakers, resulting in a full two-way active crossover.
Now that we've covered a lot of the new features for the Control 400 Enhanced Coverage series, Because we're here in Northridge, we thought it'd be a great thing to sit down with some of our experts from the team and discuss in a little bit more of a casual conversation what the experience is going to be like for designers and installers that are using these new products, and talk a little bit about some of the decision making that went into the design for these new speakers. We've talked a lot about the details in the 400 series, a lot of the new technologies, a lot of the upgrades from the 20 series. But first, I wanted to really talk a little bit about the Control 20 series. Those have been speakers that have been around for over 27 years now, I believe.
That's right.
It's really an entire generation of engineers and audio designers who have used these speakers throughout their entire careers now. They've been using the 26 and the 24. They're extremely familiar with them. What made those speakers so special? Why have they been, this foundational speaker for 27 years?
Well, JBL's been in the ceiling loudspeaker business ever since the company was created. It used to be done, every manufacturer made their own driver, transformer, back can, and grill. And the integrator would decide which combination to use for a project. They would put them together by themselves at their shop before installing them in the venue. JBL was one of the main pioneers of blind mount ceiling speakers. That's putting together all of the parts of the ceiling speaker into one assembly, back can, drivers, transformer, and grill. The original Control 20 series speakers were a representation of how that was accomplished. At that time, the Control 24 and 26, and then the Control 19 subwoofer were some of the original blind mount ceiling speakers that hit the market. The market adopted the form factor. The sound was tuned to be a really good balance between flat frequency response for music and a little bit of cutting through for a complex sound field like you would find in a restaurant, maybe in an airport or whatever, so that people could understand the announcements. And so these became ubiquitous in the industry just as a series of speakers that could be used for all those applications. There have been changes in the marketplace, and this next generation of ceiling speakers now incorporates all the things that have adjusted and changed, in the meantime, with the look, the very sleek, elegant look of the full face grille, the voicing of the speaker, the special low saturation transformers, the extra thick back cans to enhance the bass, just all sorts of improvements, which I'm just delighted have now been implemented in this next generation.
You brought up that the Control 20 series have been used in lots of different applications. I think we categorize them kind of as commercial loudspeakers, and we keep trying to give examples for that they can be used in restaurants or conference rooms, but they've been used in all kinds of strange and interesting applications, I would imagine.
Yeah, we like to say for the ceiling speakers, we often get asked if there's a vertical or a particular use case that we focus on, and we just say anywhere with a ceiling.
Yeah.
If it has a ceiling and it needs sound and you need sound reinforcement, we have a portfolio of different options that give designers different tools to be able to address the needs of that specific project and what sort of sound character they want, what level of coverage they want. It's all about providing a variety of options for designers to meet those unique use cases. I think JBL is unique in that way, particularly in our ceiling speaker portfolio.
Whether it's music or just
Speech reinforcement. Yep.
Anywhere you need sound reinforcement.
Life safety applications, all of the above.
I've even seen them, it's not a proper use case, but even before Rick could develop some pendants, I've actually seen them used and hung independent of a ceiling as a pendant, which isn't a normal use case by any means.
As a chandelier.
It just shows you the level of how confident people are with that speaker. It became synonymous with, I've heard it said by many consultants and designers, when in doubt, just use a Control 26. And there really is something to be said for that. They know it's going to work. They know what the sound characteristic is. They know it's going to be reliable, and it's versatile. So it almost became synonymous for us as a brand. That was, it's hard, as Rick will tell you, he's developed a lot of ceiling speakers over the times, and it was hard to get customers to even look at some of those others and be like, nope, don't care. I just want the C26.
Just stick with what works.
And that's always been a challenge for us when you build something that iconic to improve upon it. And when we started this project, that was one of my goals for them was how do we keep that level but take it to the next level? And I think the team has done a great job with that.
Yeah, and going back to the legacy of the 20 series, and you mentioned specifically the 26, I think the two main themes are versatility and reliability.
Without
Those
a
are the
doubt.
two the two
That's
main.
what stood out with the Control 20 series?
Yeah, I think that's why our customers kept coming back to that series for so long, and why it's been a staple of so many installs and has been templated into so many consultants' designs for generations now. And I think that those are the two qualities that we really did our best to pass over to the new 400 series. I think we did a good job of shooting for the 20 series as a target for reliability and for versatility, to give designers the opportunity or the ability to use them in a variety of different installs anywhere with a ceiling. So
I used to always joke, McDonald's used to have the sign that said how many hamburgers they sold, and it would change all the time. I used to say, we need that for its Control 26. Because it's legendary. It's how many's out there in the industry. It's crazy.
So for all these audio designers, installers that have been using it for over 20 years now, they're very, very accustomed to it. They know how to build a design. They know what models to pick when they're speccing something out. What would you say is the most important thing for them to know with the new Control 400 series when they're kind of adapting from a Control 20 design to a new Control 400 design?
yeah, I mean there are a number of key changes. I think in terms of the sound character, Rick, you referenced this earlier, that the original Control 20 was voiced for the needs of the time and what designers were looking for at the time, namely cutting through ambient noise with top-end presence. Low frequency extension was less of a requirement for commercial systems at that point. That's changed over time, and the target, I suppose, at the time the 20s were introduced, was less flat and more utilitarian. And this new series, the 400 series, the Enhanced Coverage series, is tuned to be flatter, to give designers a blank canvas and an even sound character as a starting point, and also extended LF extension, extended low frequency points to allow for warmer bass, more rich bass in commercial settings, which is becoming more and more common. People are expecting a level of low frequency and warmth and quality to sound systems in commercial environments these days.
We purposely made the coverage angles of these speakers match up with the coverage angles of the original generation. And what that's going to allow is that everyone who has the Control 26s and 24s, let's say, built into their templates and into their boilerplates for their projects,
I know a 10 by 12 room, I put exactly this many speakers in.
That's right. But what they're going to get is actually more consistent coverage within the listening space. The original design produced a coverage that was a little more trebly in the center of the coverage pattern, got a little less trebly as you move off. These new speakers with the CRBI, the coplanar RBI, radiation boundary integrator, they reduce the hot spot underneath the speaker, and they widen the high frequency coverage to the edges. So as you're moving under the speaker, you hear the exact same mix of sound. That allows you to EQ the speaker for the entire listening area. So if you EQ it for this particular spot, it will be right for all of the spots within the listening area.
In the past, I had to kind of compromise and choose where I wanted to.
That's right. So the new speakers, they really fit into still that same template and boilerplate for applying the speaker, but they provide the additional low end, they provide the flatter frequency response, and they provide a much more consistent coverage.
Yeah, in the past with the Legacy 20 series, to achieve the same level of consistency in the coverage, you'd need more speakers. You'd need to add more sources to maintain a more consistent high-end sort of sound field or sound image. And with these speakers having a wider top-end coverage, fewer speakers would be necessary to create that consistent sound character around a space. So that's a difference in
And it
performance.
actually sounds better at the seams. You just hear one consistent sound across the listening space.
So if I'm a designer, I have my designs that I'm comfortable with in the 20 series. I can just drop these new models into that same design that I've always been using, and I'm really just going to get this better sound, more consistent sound coverage.
You can experiment with using slightly fewer of them actually, and spacing them just a little farther apart, and that saves money on the project as far as the cost of the speakers, cost of the cabling to the speakers,
amp channels,
the installation cost, amp channels, and so on, if you decide to. But if you want to just use them one-to-one in the same number that you used, that's fine.
And for installers, the cutout size is the same. They're the same diameter, so there's no need to look at your lighting fixture clearance or anything like that. Again, it's the same footprint as the Legacy 20 series.
So there's been a change in the building construction industry where there's less space above the ceiling in more places. So you can get the same sound as the full depth models, but now with the new LP, the low profile versions of those, which
we have the
then
low
gives you some
profile in the
additional.
4-inch and the 6-inch
That's right.
version, and we didn't have it in the 6-inch version at all
Correct.
before. Okay.
And an interesting thing to note about the low profile version of the 4-inch, the 424, is that it's the same acoustic volume as the full-sized 424, just squashed to meet the diameter of the 426s, which means that you retain the same low-frequency characteristics and sound character of the full-sized 424, but just with the lower profile under 100 mil ceiling depth, which is going to be a huge advantage for designers that...
So that one has a little bit larger cutout, but still
Yes.
only 100
Get the
mils.
same volume. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
same
get,
acoustic volume,
that
correct.
full audio quality that you get with the regular CT version.
Exactly.
And speaking of the model numbers, I mean, we've gone to kind of great pains to keep the model numbers as consistent with the previous generation of models. So if you bought a 26C or a 26CT before, now you just buy the 426CT.
We wanted to make it as easy as possible for designers to not have to decode any of the handover from the old models to the new, from the legacy models to the new. So the 400 series is the overarching moniker for what will be, a larger portfolio. The 20s just have a 4 in front of them. It's just the 420 series. The enhanced coverage is the name of the family, but it's as easy as just adding the 4 to convey the legacy and the next generation of the 20 series.
I guess one additional small change and improvement that we've been doing on some of our other ceiling speaker lines and our other speaker lines is that now we've combined the C and the CT.
CT together.
Used to be you had to buy a 26C, which was low impedance only, or a 26CT, which was the 70 volt and the 100 volt version. Now that's combined together. So it's 24 becomes the 424, but C/T that has both low impedance and the transformer for the 70 and 100 volt system. And the 26 becomes the 426.
So we have all the options, just fewer SKUs that I have to manage and warehouse.
It makes it easier on us to manage less, and it makes it more efficient for our customer too, right? They can just buy one model that does both uses. So we think that's a big advantage.
Of the new features we've talked about with the 400 series, is there another one that's you think is the most important? I mean, I guess it's pretty hard to get away from CRBI as the most important new feature, but...
Yeah, I think the two marquee features of the new series are the CRBI, which is the coplanar radiation boundary integrator, which is coplanar meaning it's flat, it's one surface. Some might be familiar with the RBI technology that's used in our 40 series speakers, as well as some of the performance speakers, which is a three-dimensional sort of waveguide apparatus that is more technically advanced and provides a higher level of high frequency dispersion and more even coverage. The coplanar RBI, it doesn't perform as well as our traditional RBI in the 40 series, but still is an improvement above the traditional design of tweeter in front of woofer. So it sits very well between the 40 series and the 10 series in terms of coverage performance.
I guess it provides some sort of nice compromise between adding that more consistent coverage at a good value.
At a good value point, exactly.
And just to note, it is a JBL
Proprietary,
exclusive proprietary innovation.
In addition to the CRBI, I think we've been asked about full face magnetic grills for some time, and I think it's this is our foray. This is our foray into the world of full faced magnetic grill ceiling speakers, which is a totally new aesthetic from the rest of the portfolio. So that means easily installable square black grills, all of which are equipped with a safety tether for to make sure that there are no accidents if they're bumped. That's a huge aesthetic change that just meets the requirements of what the marketplace has been
It's
asking
really a
for.
beautiful looking ceiling speaker.
Yes.
It's elegant, stylish, fits into a wide variety of decors.
Yeah, and we also, again, we give the versatility with accessory grills. If some changes are needed, if a square grill or black grill is necessary, we have those options for each speaker as well.
For every model now.
For every model in the
Whereas we
family,
had a
correct.
single model that you could get in a black before.
We've learned a lot over 20 years, right? So it's time to add those together.
Yeah, I'd say that those are the two most significant changes, but we've also made a number of mechanical improvements. The dog ear design is much more robust and will result in far fewer failures than the legacy 20 series has. Much easier to install and does not have an exposed screw end that an installer may potentially snag their clothes on. The terminal cover is equipped with hand screws, so no more balancing the screwdriver and the speaker when you're on top of a ladder. Makes it so much easier for installers to just push in the screw, turn it, and feel confident that they've secured the terminal cover. So those are the two major mechanical improvements that I'm sure installers will be.
Even add reinforcing ribs on the back can.
Yeah. Some for
to
structural improvement.
structurally support it better.
So we tried to. This is a full ground up redesign. This is we've sort of reinvented what the 20 series could be in the year 2024 and beyond. What are the changes that need to be made to match modern sensibilities, but also be the workhorse that the traditional 20 series has for years and years, and not run into any sort of mechanical failures or installation issues, and be as consistent and easy to use as it can be.
Yeah, it's a 2-year development, right? It's not just a new badge. It's as they've mentioned, every aspect of this is new.
Not counting the 20 years of education that went into that.
Correct.
Exactly. Yeah.
To set that foundation.
Yeah, and feedback from customers, and in unique perspective and technological angle that JBL has. Again, the CRBI is proprietary JBL technology that harkens back to the 40 series and other models that have used that tech, and it's something we've hung our hat on for a while, and that's the key to best in class coverage and value for our customers.
Yeah, there wasn't an area, right? I mean, really, you wrap up everything they said, it's 3 key categories, right? Enhanced coverage, superior sonic performance, and improved installation features, right? So all aspects of that speaker have been touched. And the fourth being the industrial design, which I think wraps all that into one nice, pretty package. Good job.
So these are, on their own, extremely versatile speakers. We said they can fit in a whole lot, like basically any commercial application. But we have several different lines, even within just our ceiling speakers. So where do these fit in relation to kind of some of the other series options that we offer?
Yeah, so the 400 series is a moniker for our blind mount portfolio. Enhanced coverage being a subdivision of that portfolio. These speakers, the enhanced coverage, sit between the 40s and the 10s. So you can think of our blind mount portfolio being a good, better, best arrangement. 10s to these new enhanced coverage, 20 series replacements to the 40s. So you can think of it, again, good, better, best makes it easy for our customers to understand the transition from one to the other. And then that blind mount portfolio, the 400 series, is nestled within our larger ceiling speaker portfolio, which is a bit more robust in terms of installation requirements and output, and there's still more choices beyond the blind mount options. And then that sits within the much larger install, and commercial portfolio. So that's the way that we tried to arrange it and position it for our customers to easily digest and know how to understand which tools are best suited for which projects and which situations.
And not to complicate things even more, but we do have our line below the blind mount, lines. We have the CSS series and the 8100 series, and those are less expensive speakers that are for pre-installed back boxes, rather than a blind mount configuration. And then above these lines, if you need them to start getting even louder, there's the Control 200 series and the Control 300 series, which are medium and large format ceiling speakers that then get you into Kevlar reinforced cones and compression driver high frequencies and places where you really need to belt out a lot of sound.
So 2 and 300 series, kind of the top of the range for highest SPL, highest musicality. Like I had a restaurant where music was really important to me, or I
Foreground
was
instead of
having
background. Yeah.
ceiling speakers in a club or something like
We think
that.
of like a ballroom or something
Yeah.
like that with a high ceiling that requires the output, but also needs the coverage and musical quality. So that's where those would be positioned relative to the.
Then the Control 10, 400, and 40 for pretty much general application. I mean, I guess you can fit those into everywhere. That's kind of the mama bear, if everyone
the
knows
Swiss
that.
Army knife,
Yeah.
sort of,
We
yeah.
make it for whatever environment you need.
Exactly.
And then the CSS and the 8100, more for
Commodity, sort of,
Commodities,
yeah.
Yeah.
Audio by the
paging
acre,
and,
we say.
and background music instead of maybe foreground music.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Interesting.
So it's a very broad portfolio. Pretty much anything that anyone would need
We even have
for
outdoor
any
stuff.
application. We even have a specialty model in the 40 series for high ceilings. So it's a special narrow
And
coverage.
then we didn't really touch on the LCT. That kind of doesn't fit as neatly into those three categories.
Yeah, more of a specialty.
That's a special, yeah.
speaker.
LCT is a lay-in ceiling tile speaker that is used very commonly, particularly in the education market where they have to install a whole bunch of K through 12 schoolrooms or whatever in a short period of time during the summer. It's really nice to just take out a ceiling tile, put in an LCT, connect it, and you're up and running.
And we make that available in a metric and US size form. So it fits worldwide in any ceiling tile.
So kind of started the big upgrade right in the heart of the line, in the very, very middle.
Exactly. We consider the blind mount portion of the line to sort of be the the meat and potatoes of the ceiling speaker portfolio, and the 20 series is at the core of that, the core of the 10s, 20s, and 40s. So this was a really important one for us to get right and do well and focus on the details. And I think not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think the result will speak for itself in terms of sound character and mechanical improvements. So
It does sound like a very worthy successor to the Control 20 series. Sounds like it.
yeah, it's a tough act to follow. How do you follow up what's been our most successful ceiling speaker line in terms of volume and longevity in JBL's or JBL Professional's commercial speaker history? And I mean, the answer is you just have to cross your T's and dot your I's and pay attention to the details.
We took it very seriously as a successful line on our part, as well as a ubiquitous product in the marketplace that we had a responsibility to replace these with the next generation that really exceeds the initial, the legacy models in many, many ways.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, I think hopefully that'll kind of comfort some fears for those that are so comfortable with the Control 20 series. They'll understand kind of what the upgrade path is going to be like and what they should be excited to kind of experience with these. And I personally just kind of enjoy hearing about the history of the 20 series and what kind of interesting projects you guys have been a part of in,
It was
in
a
the
fun
past.
project, that's for sure.
So thanks so much for having the little chat.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it was fun. So that's the first look at our new JBL Control 400 enhanced coverage loudspeakers, the next generation of the iconic JBL Control 20 series. These models have been engineered to retain the legendary reliability and versatility of speakers like the Control 26 with enhanced coverage, superior sonic performance, improved installation features, and a modern aesthetic. We can't wait for you to experience these speakers yourself. If you can make it to ISE next week, we'll be demonstrating these speakers as well as several other new products from our Harman brands, and we'd be delighted to see you there. I'm also happy to share that the Control 400 enhanced coverage ceiling loudspeakers are available for order from your local JBL Pro distributor or dealer now. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. For more information, you can always check us out anytime at jblpro.com. Have a great day.